Let's start with constitutional development of India. A constitution is a body of rules and laws based on which a country is governed. Historically, the development of Indian constitutions began with the establishment of East India Company's rules in India in the mid-18th century, followed by the direct rules of British government till Indian independence in 1947. फर्स्ट एक्ट रेगुलेटिंग एक्ट 1773, पिट्स इंडिया एक्ट 1784, चार्टर एक्ट 1793 और चार्टर एक्ट 1813, चार्टर एक्ट 1833, चार्टर एक्ट 1853. These all British Parliament Act for the administration of East India Company. Act passed during Crown rule. गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया एक्ट 1858, इंडियन काउंसिल एक्ट 1861, इंडियन काउंसिल एक्ट 1892, इंडियन काउंसिल एक्ट 1909, गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया एक्ट 1919, गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया एक्ट 1935 और इंडियन इंडिपेंडेंस एक्ट 1947. नाउ वी विल discuss some more about regulating act or other acts. Regulating Act 1773. The Regulating Act allowed the British Parliament to regulate the affairs of East India Company rule in India. The Governor of Bengal was subsequently designated as the Governor General of Bengal, with a council consisting of 4 members entrusted with carrying out legislative and executive function. Warren Hastings became the first Governor General of Bengal. His council consisted for 4 members: John Clavering, George Manson, Philip Francis and Richard Burwell. Presidency of Madras and Bombay were made subordinate to the Bengal Presidency, especially in the matter of foreign policy. After this act, they could not wage war against the Indian states without Bengal's approval. Under this act, the Supreme Court was established at Calcutta as the apex court in 1774 with a Chief Justice and 3 other judges. Note: first Chief Justice of Supreme Court was Elijah Impey and the 3 other judges were Chambers, Lemaitre and Hyde. It was made mandatory for the company to provide all the information to the Indian related to revenue, citizen and military to the British Parliament. Act of Settlement of 1781. This act was passed to remove the defects in the Regulating Act in 1773. By this act, the government of Calcutta was empowered to make laws for Bengal, Bihar and Odisha. The servant of the company, which earlier came within the jurisdiction of Supreme Court, were now exempted from the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. Pitt's India Act of 1784. The British Crown was the supreme controller of the company's affairs and its administration in India. The commercial and political functions of the company were separated. It was called dual government, DRG. Dual government, political and commercial, was started in India, which remained in force till 1858. It allowed the Court of Directors to manage the commercial affairs but created a new body called the Board of Control to manage the political affairs. The territory of the company in India were the first time called the British possessions in India. India's first last Governor General Viceroy रॉबर्ट क्लाइव, उसके बाद वारेन हेस्टिंग्स के बाद लॉर्ड विलियम बेंटिक के बाद लॉर्ड कैनिंग, लॉर्ड माउंटबेटन, उसके बाद आफ्टर दैट सी राजगोपालाचारी. नाउ वी विल डिस्कस अबाउट रॉबर्ट क्लाइव, गवर्नर जनरल ऑफ बंगाल. He served 1758 to 60 and 1764 to 67. After that, Warren Hastings came. He served 1772 to 1774, the last governor of Bengal. 1774 to 1785, the first governor general of Bengal. After that, the person came Lord William Bentinck, 1828 to 1834, the last governor general of Bengal. 1834 1835, the first governor general of India. After that, the person came named Lord Canning, 1856 to 1858, the last governor general of India appointed by the company. 1858 से 1862, first viceroy of India under the British rule. After that, the person came Lord Mountbatten. He served March 1947 to August 1947, the last viceroy of India, and August 1947 to June 1948, the first governor general of independent India. After that came Siraj Gopalachari, June 1948, January 1950, the first and the last Indians to become the governor general of independent India. After that comes, we are coming to Charter Act 1786. This act gave overriding power to the Governor General over his councils. In extraordinary situation, Governor General got the power to work as both Governor General and Commander in Chief. Lord Cornwallis became the first effective ruler under the authorities of the Board of Control and the Court of Directors. Charter Act 1990, Charter Act 9. Charter Act 1993. This act extended the company's charter for another 20 years. After that, the act came Charter Act of 1813. This act ended the company's monopoly over trade with India except in tea and opium and trade with China. The act also required the company to invest 1 lakh rupees annually in the education of Indians. Approval by the British Parliament was made mandatory for laws passed by the Calcutta, Bombay and Madras governments. Charter Act 1833, it is also called St. Helena Act. Governor General of Bengal became the Governor General of India. The act ended the activities of East India Company as a commercial body and it's become administrative body properly. Significantly, the company's trade link with the China were also suspended. The Governor General Council, a law member, was added as the fourth member. First law member, Macaulay. The Governor General had legislative powers over all of British India. Slavery was declared illegal under this act and abolished in 1843. The legislative powers were centralized by the act. This act stated that merit, not birth, color, religion and race should be the basis for the employment of civil services. According to the section 87 of the act, no Indians was to be discriminated against the government job on the ground of religion, place, birth and descent and color. The Charter Act 1833, which was enacted by the British Parliament, provided the establishment of a law commission for consolidation and codification of Indian law. Charter Act 1853. This act laid the foundation of civil service exam and opened the gates of a fair competition system for civil servants. For the first time, the legislative executive functions of the Governor General Council was separated. A central legislative council was created. Governor General Act of 1858. After the first war of independence in 1857, the British government passed the Government of India Act 1858. This act is also known as the Act for the Better Government of India. This act ended the rule of company and British possession in India were transferred under direct British rule. The dual government by Pitt's India Act 1784 was abolished. It changed the designation of Governor General of India to that of Viceroy of India, who was the direct representative of British Crown in India. The first Viceroy of India was Lord Canning. The merchant companies' residual powers were vested in the Secretary of State for India, a minister of Great Britain's cabinet, who would preside over the India office in London. Indian Council Act of 1861, beginning of Indian representations in Viceroy Council's legislature. In 1862, Lord Canning nominated three Indians: Raja Dev Narayan Singh of Benares, Maharaja Narendra Singh of Patiala, and Sir Dinkar Rao Raghunath of Gwalior into the Legislative Council. It empowered the Viceroy to issue ordinance without the concurrence of the Legislative Council. During an emergency, the Viceroy also got the right to establish new provinces and change their boundaries. Under this act, Viceroy was given the power to establish the Legislative Council in province. Note: Legislative councils were formed in Bengal, North-West Frontier Province and Punjab in 1862, 1866 and 1897 respectively. Indian Council Act of 1892, indirect election described as a nomination were introduced. Under this act, the act provided Indian members with a right to ask questions related to the finance and budget. However, this right was barred after the amendment in the Act of 1861 and matters of public interest after a notice of 6 days. Significantly, members were restricted from asking supplementary questions. Indian Council Act of 1909. This act is also known as the Morley-Minto reforms. Lord Morley was then Secretary of State of India, and Lord Minto was the Viceroy of India. For the first time, as Indian was made a member of Viceroy Executive Councils. Satyendra Prasanna Sinha, S.P. Sinha, was the first Indian member of Viceroy Executive Council. He was included as a law member. Under this act, Indians were provided representative of law making and administration. Under this act, the member now could discuss the budget and move resolutions. They could also discuss matter of public interest. They could also ask supplementary questions. It introduced a system of communal representations of Muslims by accepting the concept of separate electorate. This act legalized communalism, and Lord Minto came to be known as the father of communal electorate. Government of India Act 1919. This act is also known as the Montagu-Chelmsford Reform. At this time, Montagu was the Secretary of State for India and Lord Chelmsford was the Viceroy of India. Partially responsible government and diarchy was established in province. The father of diarchy in province was Lionel Curtis. Provincial subjects were divided into two parts: transferred and reserved. The transferred subjects were administered by the governor and the ministers responsible to the legislative councils. The reserved subjects were administered by the governor and his executive councils without being responsible to the legislative councils. A bicameral legislature was introduced for the first time at the central level. Suffrage rights were given to those paying land tax and income tax. Some women were also given the right to vote. The communal representation was extended to Sikh, Europeans and Anglo-Indians. This act provide for the establishment of Public Service Commission. Government of India Act 1999 provide a separate examination of Indian civil services which was to be held in India. It provided to constitute a statutory commission which was to submit its report after 10 years of inquiry. Government of India Act 1935. It was detailed document having 321 article and thus schedule but with no preamble. It provided for the establishment of All India Federation consisting of province and princely state. However, the federation never came into existence. Diarchy was abolished at the provincial level and introduced at the central level, and provincial autonomy was also introduced. It provided the bicameralism in some provinces. 6 out of the 11 provinces, Bombay, Madras, Bihar, Bengal, United Province, Assam, they were made bicameral, consisting legislative council and legislative assembly. It provided for the establishment of federal courts, which was set up in 1937. This act abolished the Council of India established by the Government of India Act 1858. Burma was separated from British India, and new provinces Sindh and Odisha were formed under Act 1935 Act. The Reserve Bank of India was established to control the currency and credit in the country. The British government under the Act of 1935 had granted women 41% reserved seat in the provincial legislative assembly. About 10% of the total population got the voting right under this act. It provided for the establishment of Federal Court Service Commission along with the Provincial Public Service Commission and Joint Public Service Commission. After that came Indian Independence Act of 1947. This act ended the British rule in India, partitioning the colony into two independent dominion states, India and Pakistan. It empowered the Constituent Assembly of both dominion to frame and adopt a new constitution for their respective nations. Both dominions were given the freedom to separate from the British Commonwealth. Indian Independence Act 1947 announced the end of British sovereignty over the princely state of India from the 15th August 1947. This act abolished the title of Emperor of India from the British Crown. Princely states were given the right to join either Pakistan or India based on two major factors: geographical contiguity and the people's wishes. It provides for the governance of each of the dominions and provinces by the Government of India Act of 1935 till the new constitution were framed. Making of the constitution. The very first demand of the Constituent Assembly on behalf of Indians were made by the Swaraj Party in Ranchi in 1934. M.N. Rai was the first person who demanded a Constituent Assembly individually. In 1934, the Indian National Congress finally demanded that a Constituent Assembly composed by Indians be set up to frame a constitution for India. Mahatma Gandhi said the Constituent Assembly alone can produce a constitution indigenous to the country and truly and fully representing the will of people. The proposal of framing of constitution to India by an elected Constituent Assembly was made by Cripps Mission. The Constituent Assembly was constituted under the scheme of Cabinet Mission of 1946. According to the Cabinet Mission, the strength of the Constituent Assembly was to be 389. Out of the 296 seats allotted to the British India, 292 members were to be drawn from the 11 provinces and four from the 4 chief commissioners provinces. Generally, one seat was to be allotted for every 10 lakh of the population. The seat allocated to each British province were to be divided among 3 principal communities: Muslim, Sikhs and general population in proportion to their numbers. The Constituent Assembly held in first meeting on 9th December 1946 in Delhi. The Muslim League League boycotted the meeting and insisted on a separate state of Pakistan. The first meeting was thus attended by the 207 members who were Congress members. The province of Hyderabad did not participate in the Constituent Assembly. The Constituent Assembly was not based on adult suffrage. The Constituent Assembly was a result of an indirect election. The oldest member, Dr. Sachidanand Sinha, was elected as the temporary chairman of the Constituent Assembly. The first meeting of the Constituent Assembly was held on 9th December 1946. On 11th December 1946, Dr. Rajendra Prasad was elected as the chairman of the Assembly, H.C. Mukherjee as the vice chairman, and B.N. Rao as a constitutional advisor to the Assembly. The number of women in the Constituent Assembly was 15. Note: women members in the Constituent Assembly were Vijaya Lakshmi Pandit, Sucheta Kripalani, Malini Chaudhary, Sarojini Naidu, Hans Mehta, Rajkumari Amrit Kaur, Purnima Banerjee, Renuka Ray, Kamala Chaudhary, Leela Roy, Bengal Begum Aizaz Rasool, Ammu Swaminathan, D. Durgabai, Dakshayami Beludam, and Annie Mascarne. On the 13th December 1946, Jawaharlal Nehru moved the objective resolution which was unanimously adopted by the Constituent Assembly on 22 January 1947 and later constituted as a preamble to the Constitution. Various committees were constituted by the Constituent Assembly for the deliberation over constitution making. In the interim government formed in 1946, the Vice President of the Executive Council was Jawaharlal Nehru. Principal Committee of the Constituent Assembly and their presiding heads: Committee Union Powers Committee, Jawaharlal Nehru; Union Constitution Committee, Jawaharlal Nehru; Provincial Constitution Committee, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel; Drafting Committee, Bhimrao Ambedkar; Advisory Committee on Fundamental Right and Minorities, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel; Fundamental Rights Subcommittee, J.B. Kripalani; Minorities Subcommittee, S.C. Mukherjee; Committee on Rules of Procedure, Rajendra Prasad; Committee for the State, Jawaharlal Nehru; Steering Committee, Rajendra Prasad; Ad hoc National Flag Committee, Rajendra Prasad. On 29th August 1947, a drafting committee was constituted through a resolution. Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar was elected as chairman of this committee. Note that Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar was elected from the Bombay Presidency to the Constituent Assembly. The function of the drafting committee was to discuss the draft of the constitution prepared by the constitutional advisor B.N. Rao. The drafting committee submitted its report to the Constituent Assembly on 21st February 1947. Drafting committee, total member 7. Chairman Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar. Member N. Gopal Swami Iyengar. Third member Allah D. Krishna Swami Iyer. Fourth member Dr. K. M. Munshi. Fifth member Syed Muhammad Sadaullah, and sixth member N. Madhav Rao. He replaced B.L. Mitra, who resigned for health reason. T.T. Krishnamachari replaced D.P. Khaitan in 1948. The first Reading of Constituent Assembly started from 4th November to 9th November 1948. The second reading from 15th November 1948 to 17th October 1949. The third reading from 14th November 1949 to 26th November 1949. The Constitution was adopted by the Constituent Assembly on 26 November 1949. A total of 15 articles, the provisions relating to the citizenship, election, provisional parliament, temporary and transitional provision of the Constitution came into effect on 26 November 1949, while the remaining did on 26 January 1950. On 26th 1930, the historic Purna Swaraj Declaration was officially promulgated, beginning the first final phase of Indian freedom struggle, where the goal would be complete independence from British rule. So, in this date, Republic Day was announced. The first Republic Day of India was celebrated on 26th in January 1950. Presently, Indian Constitution consists of preamble, 468 articles, 12 schedule, and 5 parts. From the point of view of enumeration, the Constitution was adopted by the Constituent Assembly on November 26, 1949. Originally, it had 22 parts, 8 schedule, and 395 articles. On 26 January 1950, Dr. Rajendra Prasad was elected the first president of independent India. The national flag was adopted by the Constituent Assembly on 22 July 1947, and the national song and national anthem on 24th January 1950. India's membership of Commonwealth was confirmed in May 1949 by the Constituent Assembly. Prem Bahari Narayan Rajada Saxena is the man who hand wrote the original Constitution of India. Main point: the Swaraj Party in the conference at Ranchi in May 1934 presented the policy of Constituent Assembly. The idea of Constituent Assembly was put forward for the first time by M.N. Roy in 1934. Indian Constituent Assembly was constituted under the Cabinet Mission 1946. Frank Anthony was the first nominated temporary deputy chairman of the Constituent Assembly. Nehru has presented the objective resolution in the 5th meeting of the first session of Constituent Assembly on 13 December 1946. Sir Bengal Narsingh Rao was appointed as the constitutional advisor during the formation of Constitution. Constitution Day is celebrated on 26th November. B.R. Ambedkar was elected to the Constituent Assembly from the Bombay Presidency. Important fact related to the Constitution Assembly: first meeting 9th December 1946. Temporary Chairman Dr. Sachidanand Sinha, Permanent Chairman Dr. Rajendra Prasad, Vice President S.C. Mukherjee, Constitutional Advisor Dr. Sir B.N. Rao. The time was taken in constitution making 2 years, 11 months and 18 days. Duration of debate 114 days. Total expenditure 63,96,729 rupees. Total reading 3. Constitution adopted on 26th November 1949. Constitution came into force on 26 January 1950. Interim government for India was formed based on Cabinet Mission Plan. An interim government was formed on 2nd September 1946. On 26th October 1946, the Muslim League also joined it. Ministers: Jawaharlal Nehru, interim government; Jawaharlal Nehru, External Affairs and Commonwealth Relations; Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, Information and Broadcasting and Home; C. Rajgopalachari, Education Arts; Liaquat Ali, Finance; Joginder Nath Mandal, Law; Asaf Ali, Railway; Dr. Rajendra Prasad, Food and Agriculture. Dr. C.H. Bhabha, Work, Mines and Power. Baldev Singh, Defense. L.L. Chundrigar, Commerce. Abdur Rab Nistar, Communication, Postal. And Air. Gazanafar Ali Khan, Health. And Jagjivan Ram, Labor. Liaquat Ali, Joginder Nath, Madan Lal, I.L. Chundarigar, Abdur Rab Nastar and Gahjanafar Ali Khan were member of Muslim League. Note: the princely estate were made to join Union of India under the strong leadership of Sardar Patel. The princely estate of Hyderabad was incorporated into India by police action. The princely estate of Junagadh through plebiscite, and princely estate of Jammu and Kashmir were incorporated into India by signing an instrument of succession. The interim government worked from 26 January 1950 till the government formed after the first general election 1951-52. The exact constitutional status on 26/1/1950 was a sovereign democratic republic. Now in second lecture we will discuss about source of constitution. इट्स ये ऑलरेडी काफ़ी बड़ा हो गया है, तो अब इसको यहाँ ही समाप्त करते हैं. ओके, थैंक यू वेरी मच. इसमें से जो भी हमने मेन पॉइंट बताया उसको जो है सो बार बार देखें, वीडियो को देख कर उसको लिखें और जो है सो अपने कंठस्थ कर लें. ओके, थैंक यू वेरी मच.